when Facebook bought Instagram, there was 8 people and 0 in revenue for $1 billion. There's people who were outraged. They're like, how can you pay that much per head? Or how can you pay that much for 0 in revenue? And now it's probably the greatest acquisition ever. That's one thing that's really hard about being a founder is you often get to read about outliers that get to raise huge amounts of capital with low revenues or get acquired, low revenues. And you're always like, well, why do they get to have that happen?
A counter argument I heard to this is that because of like the politics within and middle management and the protests that would have happened if they were trying to build something internally, they felt like they had to buy it to bring the resource externally because they would never get buy-in to actually to build this internally. At the beginning of the day, we spoke to these people and we're like, what's your confidence in AI agents? And most few people like 2 out of 10, 1 out of 10, 3 out of 10. And they're like deflated in how they're speaking because they're a little bit anxious, like the day hadn't started. And by the end of it, these people were like different, totally different. And their confidence levels mostly gone from like a 1 to a 2 to like a 7 or an 8. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Bricks, Bucks, and Bytes. By the way, when you're doing that live in person, I was having this chat today. When you're doing that live in person to camera, like recently we have just done 2 live streams, one in Boston and one in London. And when you're doing that to camera and you have like one take to get that, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Bricks and Bucks. We're Bricks and Bytes. We're live here in thingy. It's so intimidating. You're like, the pressure is really on. And my ritual is to like go for a walk or think about it on the train and just recite what I'm going to say in my head over and over and over and over again. And then when you're in the moment, you enter this like a focus zone where you just do it, and like then all your fears are gone. So there you go.
You did it only twice, and I think the second time was way better than the first one. So there's a progress.
Yeah.
That setup you all had in Boston, those looked like a movie studio in a conference room.
That was epic, man.
That was real nice.
Patrick said we should call it Bricks and Bytes TV. That stuff is really great and fun to do. We're trying to work out how to make it more of a consistent thing, but there is a lot of logistics that go into something like that. And yeah, I think you'll definitely see more of it next year, 2026. We'll try and be at every event doing it. But yeah, it was super fun. And Dustin, I think you had a good time too. Do you still have the hat?
I still have the hat. I still have my shirt. It's actually upstairs on my ironing board for some reason.
You're doing Dunkin' or not today?
I am drinking my Pete's coffee. Thank you very much.
Hey,
so the posh one.
That's what David said, right? Was the West Coast, or Edify, the West Coast speciality in the US, Pete's coffee.
Pete's is where I take a lot of phone calls. I do a lot of work at Pete's.
Is that where you raise that check of money for Building Connected?
No, that was at Phil's Coffee in Palo Alto.
What's with all the names?
That's another gem.
Hey, in the like UK and Europe, you have like Costa, Cafe Nero, all these like fancy names. In America, America's like Pete and Phil.
So we used to have one, and it closed during COVID, and it was called Crossroads Cafe in Soma. And this place was awesome. It was my favorite coffee shop ever. In fact, I moved just to be kind of closer to it at one point.
Really?
I'm not joking. I love that coffee shop. I love their food, the ambiance, the vibe. But it was also a charity. So it was called Crossroads because all the people that worked there were like ex-convicts, and it was like to give them employment as they get back into society. So it was pretty cool.
That's interesting mixture.
Yeah.
Why do you like this ambience?
I don't know. I mean, so actually Building Connected Series B was actually first really struck there because I would meet with what ended up being our eventual investor, Knuckle, who is now the founder of Audacious Ventures, and we would meet there quite regularly. And then as soon as we started hitting inflection points, he's like, let's do a deal.
Huh.
Mm.
Nice. Yeah, talking about moving to live in a certain place due to proximity of things that you like. I think that this is like a really high up on the things to think about when you are buying a house. Like a lot of people maybe optimize for other things, but it's very important because just from personal experience, when I was buying my house that I'm not currently living there because I'm having some construction work done, which has been going on for a while, but hopefully we'll be back at the end of January. But when I bought that house, there were a few contenders. And there is this pub that I love, like nearish to where that place was. And this house that I bought was like a 17-minute walk from that pub. And I checked it out, Google Maps, of course, and how far it was. And I'm so glad I moved that close. Like I really, in hindsight, love the fact that I moved there because it's like a 20-minute nice walk through a park, and you're in a place where like I don't go that regularly, but like it's just a nice place to be. There's a good ambience there. They do great beer. It's like a bit of a mecca for me just to switch off and have some downtime. So I think, yeah, advice to people when you're buying your house, consider what's close by, not just trains and transport and stuff. And Martin, why did
Absolutely.
you pick a house near Buckingham Palace?
So very convenient. Tube, 6 minutes walk. Thames, 10 minutes walk. Hyde Park, 12 minutes walk. Yeah, center. Close to good projects.
Which of your
Yeah.
5 houses are we talking about?
Oh, I don't own a house in this country. No.
Dude, I thought you were going to say because
No.
one day you'll be in the palace.
No, that's not me. Not royalty here.
Okay, look, last time we started a podcast talking about something off topic, someone left a, I don't know the right word, it's hateful, but frustrated kind of toned comment on the YouTube channel. So maybe we should jump straight into the juice. What do you think?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I need to be a little bit careful here because I put out, okay, last week, maybe middle of last week, there was this big announcement that AECOM have purchased Consigli. So AECOM being a engineering consultancy business and Consigli being a software startup. And as a result of that, my LinkedIn feed got absolutely saturated with everyone giving their opinion on the deal. And so I put out a bit of a satirical post saying my thoughts on the AECOM and Consigli deal. And I purposely done it so there was a hook and a little bit of space so people couldn't see without clicking read more. So it built a bit of tension. And then underneath I put that has developed a bunch of thought leaders. And this post got a ton of attention on my LinkedIn profile. So with that, I don't feel like I should say too much because now I am being a complete hypocrite. Therefore,
So what do you think?
I did tease some thoughts on there, but I'll be interested in your guys' thoughts before I go there. I think we have been asked and dying for Dustin your thoughts on such a deal, having been through a similar, I don't know if similar, but an acquisition before in your career. So, do you think that the value of the deal, i.e., the 300 and I think it's 390 million that was announced publicly, do you think?
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, but this is a question we were asked. Do you think that this is a correct figure? Like, this is actually the right figure?
Depends who you are, I guess.
I think there's a variety of ways you can measure it. I remember when, usually when a deal gets announced, there's always someone who says that it's an awful deal, and only time will ever tell. When Facebook bought Instagram, there was 8 people and 0 in revenue for $1 billion. There's people who were outraged. They're like, how can you pay that much per head, or how can you pay that much for 0 in revenue? And now it's probably the greatest acquisition ever, because Instagram alone would be $1 trillion company. That thing is more valuable than all the other assets of Facebook combined. Now, is it going to be the next Instagram? No, it's not. I can definitively say it's not the next Instagram. But only time will tell. Maybe AECOM has some unique insights on the team, the technology, and felt like in their ecosystem they could make them thrive, and that's really the only way you can justify it. Now, some of their revenues are public. And in 2023, I believe it was what, 1.8?
Yeah.
But then in 2024, the rumor was it didn't grow.
I
It
have heard
reduced.
similar things, yes.
Okay, let's just say if that's true, then it would make me inclined to believe that they dramatically overpaid, because it would be hard for them to raise capital at a valuation. If you have declining revenues, it's really hard to justify any sort of valuation. Like if you went from 1.8, let's just say they went from 1.8 and kept revenues the same to 1.8 the next year, that company is worth like sub 20 million. Like you might not be able to get 15 million from a private equity firm because your revenue is not growing. Maybe there's some reacceleration and they've added some AI tools that seem super differentiations, but usually big players wait till you have more proof points. So, AECOM is a customer of Edify, but I don't really understand how their whole organization works because there's many assets to AECOM. I do think it's very hard for non-technological companies to properly assess the value of technology and integrate it into a consulting business, which at the end of the day, AECOM's a consulting business. The majority of their revenues are actually like sort of correlated to their employee headcount. Like, hey, how much am I invoicing you for? Well, you don't. Sometimes efficiencies gains are not necessarily the best for their bottom line.
Yeah, no, agreed. Yeah. And I think that's reading some of the articles, that was part of the reason why they felt like they had to acquire
Yes,
to
that's
be
what
one
they
step
justified.
ahead. Yeah. So if you're saying 2 million revenue, roughly 1.8 and 390 million acquisition
If they're
price,
2
that's a
million and 0% growth year over year and they're a publicly traded company, they trade at 3x revenue.
so this was 180x, yeah? No,
For the
195. My
2023.
math sucks. 195.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at this point.
It does for my
So
ego.
I would say
Yeah.
if I was the founder of that company, I would be very ecstatic that the deal closed.
Yes.
I would love to speak to her, actually.
They sold for more than Building Connected, and our numbers were substantially better.
Yeah. I guess like just
What were your numbers?
putting like empathy into some of the people that are building startups that have better return, like better numbers than that, and are not experiencing that kind of level of outcome. It must be a little bit disheartening. Would be my view.
That's one thing that's really hard about being a founder is you often get to read about outliers that get to raise huge amounts of capital with low revenues or get acquired, low revenues. And you're always like, well, why do they get to have that happen? And there is usually more extenuating circumstances associated with those deals for why they materialized. And yeah,
Must be the one.
you should not benchmark yourself on those. There is a normal distribution, and unfortunately, most people fall within a standard deviation or two. You can't compare yourself to the 5 Sigma outliers.
Martin, what do you think?
Well, I also think that this is a great deal for the founders. On the AECOM side, we have no clue what was the driver for the decision, and until we know, it's a mystery. But the way I would think about it, if something costed 400 million, almost 390 million, the question is, if I had 390 million in cash, could I recreate this thing with this resource? And seems like you could, but
Do you know a counter argument?
Feels like it's very expensive.
A counter argument I heard to this is that because of like the politics within and middle management and the protests that would have happened if they were trying to build something internally, they felt like they had to buy it to bring the resource externally because they would never get buy-in to actually to build this internally.
So you're saying that the company is mismanaged?
Well, I don't. Well, I'm not saying this. This is something that someone said to me. I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me, honestly, if that was the case.
I mean, It's
People have to make it
publicly traded
happen.
company.
People have to make it happen, right? And that will be the middle management. And if they feel like their job is at threat because there's an AI that's suddenly reducing the value of their output and how much they can charge their clients, then why would they do it? Why would they develop this thing?
I don't know. I think it's as a publicly traded company, there's a CEO, there are shareholders, and you need to do everything to maximize shareholders' benefits, right, or value. So this deal, according to that, should have present the case for shareholder value. Yeah.
Yeah, Martin, on that, sometimes, and this is going to sound very contrarian, but sometimes this protects the shareholder value more because when you're a publicly traded company, if they were to start investing in R&D, they're from a cash flow EBITDA perspective, they're going to look like they're less profitable versus they do a one-time CapEx purchase of an asset.
That's a great point.
And just how the public investors treat it. And I can talk a little bit about time at Autodesk. That was true even when I was at Autodesk. They have more capacity. Like when they go buy $1 billion company, they could have never overlaid an extra $1 billion in R&D because then their gross margins on their business look significantly worse. But they can go borrow $1 billion or do it out of cash flow, and Wall Street treats it like it's totally different. In reality, it's not totally different. You're still spending the money, but that's the way the world works.
That's how it is. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't think about that this way yet.
Yeah. So sometimes it can be like actually in the shareholders' interest. At least you're getting something, and the share price isn't whacked.
Do either of you are either of you aware of a similar deal in the past in the industry in construction AEC technology where a consultant, i.e., not a software company, has made such a large acquisition of a software company?
CBRE's bought a few, I think. What
I have no.
There could be one for the community to answer. I don't have the data.
They bought a few companies. They bought Industrious. They bought a few companies.
Yeah, so it does exist. I wonder if my question was gonna be to that, would this be a trend that will this open, people like to follow what others are doing, so will this open a
I mean, Hilti bought Fieldwire. You don't think of them as a tech company. You think of them as heavy machinery.
tools?
Tools? Yeah. Not even heavy machine tools.
Yeah, true.
But Owen, I wouldn't say that this will suddenly bring like a ton of similar acquisitions. Feels like it might be one of a blend of perhaps a very good product, which fit very well within the business model of ICOM, and that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean more of a fact one that people tend to follow that like their competitors are doing it, and then suddenly someone's like, "Oh, we must do it too because they're doing it."
Yeah.
FOMO.
Yes.
Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
What does?
But Patrick will find more crazy valuations asking prices from founders.
Million.
By the way, also around about the time of this acquisition, there was an article that came out in investing.com that said Baird had downgraded AECOM and Jacobs to neutral, saying AI will reshape the engineering and consulting industry, but the timing and scale of its revenue impact remain unclear, leaving valuations hard to justify after years of re-rating.
Yeah, so this is actually something I was thinking about, that being AECOM and betting on a company that Consigli in this case is this kind of holy grail for the future of engineering within the space, and no one can replicate that at cheaper price, let's say. I think it's it would be delusional to think about it this way.
I think it's going to be very difficult for within AECOM to let's say that Consigli is the best at what they do today. I think it's going to be very, very challenging for AECOM to remain the best at whatever Consigli is the best at because within that organization, it's going to be AECOM is not equipped to outlay the amount of capital to retain and hire the next generation of people to work on that product and continue down a product journey. And so that's where I'm like Martin. I don't think within that organization a product like that is likely to continue whatever trajectory they're on that got AECOM so excited.
Yeah, actually, it's also interesting. I don't know how it works, but from employees' point of view, I guess everyone has some shares in the business, right? At this stage, at this early stage. So now, after this exit, people kind of come out with a nice pool of cash. And what would you do? Would you stay in a large behemoth company, or would you try to go out and do something? Venture out and do a nice startup, or perhaps, having like so much insights in the space so far, and having a safety cushion.
I'm assuming
speculation only.
Yeah, I'm assuming AECOM also had a decent M&A team or some lawyers and bankers that know what they're doing. So you don't typically pay, even if it's all cash transaction, you don't typically pay out all the cash at day one. There's a retention held in to retain talent, and then there's also like certain employee agreements for key hires to retain them.
That's like what, for a year? You can't keep people for 5 years, no?
Mine was 3.
Oh, you're 3. You spent 3 years there?
I stayed for 2. I left it on the table.
Yeah, the so-called metaphorical golden handcuffs, huh? Talking about these higher valuations, I had this one saved for later, but we should go into it now because you brought this up, Dustin, earlier. And this is about, are you either of you familiar with this term king-making strategy? Okay, this is the article, right? So VCs deploy king-making strategy to crown AI winners in their infancy. I'll read the article out so you get the gist, because it gives you the context behind it, right? So in early October, this is from TechCrunch, by the way. So in early October, Dual Entry, an AI enterprise resource ERP planning startup, announced a $90 million Series A round led by Lightspeed and Costa Ventures, valuing the one-year-old business at $415 million. One VC who declined to invest told TechCrunch that Dual Entry's annual recurring revenue, ARR, was around $400,000 when he reviewed the deal in August. So actually they have like four times less than what Consigli did, and were bought at a slightly higher value, or are valued at a slightly higher valuation. Anyway, Dual Entry's co-founder...
What space is it?
This is AI enterprise resource planning, AI ERP. Dual Entry's co-founder Santiago Nesteros denies the number. When asked about revenue when the deal closed, he said it's considerably higher than that. Okay, whatever. Even so, in an extremely handsome valuation relative to revenue is becoming an increasingly common investment strategy among top-tier VC firms. The tactic is known as king-making. This approach involves deploying massive funding into one startup in a competitive category, aiming to overwhelm rivals by granting the chosen company a bank account advantage so significant that it creates the appearance of market dominance. Apparently, it's not new, but timing has shifted dramatically.
I've heard about something like that.
Yeah.
No, I'm just trying to figure out which industry that was in. Uber, Bolt, and those, I think, and also last delivery.
Well, yeah, the purple
last
one,
mile delivery,
orange one. I can't remember what it was called.
So I think there was a case that there was this fund from Asia. What's this called? What's this the largest like a fund called? SoftBank. I think that they were funding one of this Bolt, not Uber, I think, but Bolt, I think they were funding, and they were completely not profitable. But the amount of funding they were putting out there was to undercut everyone around, every other startup who was competing in this space, in a particular geography. So yeah, very similar behavior actually.
Yeah,
it's certainly not. It's a strategy, and in some ways it makes sense if you're looking at a company that's in the same space and you know that someone else has just invested 90 million, then there is going to be fear in the mind of the investor. Well, if I put in 50, are they even resource allocated to combat 90 million? I mean, there's a whole bunch of, it's a strategy is all I'll say. Whether or not it's a great strategy is
Yeah,
TBD.
it's like playing lottery at that point, though. I think like,
It's called venture investing for a reason.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
give this
Sometimes
a go.
VCs forget that there's the word venture in front of their capital.
It's most likely the deal most likely to happen in a sauna, right?
Hey, I would rather see venture investors do shit like this than some of their lame tactics that some of them do. So I'm all about
What are amongst the lame tactics you think? What are?
The worst thing is when a founder's like, I'm really looking for 30 million valuation and the VC comes in at 29. You're like, man, I told you what. Like, what are we doing? And then you're like nickel and diming over this thing, and you're like, God dang it, I really wanted 20, or I really wanted this 30. Like, this was important to me. And then the VC's like, my metrics say 20, 28 and a half. I'm like, so dumb. It's just so dumb. Happens all the time.
I was very surprised this year. I remember at least 2 or 3 times that I saw on LinkedIn, there were people who were searching for startups to invest because they had to invest particular pool of money by this time, whatever the timing was.
Yeah.
And I found it like super dumb. You have to spend some money regardless of what company, of quality companies, right? So that's completely, it doesn't make sense. If you have to spend money, invest into something.
Were they saying they had to roll it in for tax purposes? Because you could have got it.
I don't know if there was tax purpose, but we have to invest $10 million to whatever, whatever.
Yeah, I heard similar. I don't know what the exact like explanation behind it was, but I know what Martin is saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because you're time bound to something. So like you haven't found a good company and suddenly you realize you've got to deploy like 10 million and then the next day, what do you just do? Like, bonk.
Well, that was some of the SPACs is they'd open these SPACs and I think they had 2 years to take a company public. And so someone was like, well, we make money no matter what, so take shit public.
One of Martin's idols earned their wealth through
That's
this.
right. The king of SPACs. The SPAC maker.
Yeah,
mine gets very defensive when you mention this topic.
I don't get defensive. I don't care. I don't know the man. I appreciate other good features of a character, and I wasn't aware of the bad ones. And actually, I'm very selective in the way I look at people. So if I like something in someone, then I will admire them for what they are, and the bad stuff I just kind of disregard, and I don't care. So
I think that's very fair. There is qualities in individuals that you can admire while not saying that the whole person is perfect. And I think a lot of people.
Of course, yeah.
Well, that could be. I mean, like
you could throw some
man. Like you could look at some of the most crazy figures in history and be like, yeah, he killed like 50 million people, but he was like kind of good looking.
I don't think that's what they say about him.
Yeah.
Well, I would just say, yeah. I mean, yeah. All right, whatever.
And there's always a reason for a famous, successful person that they are famous and successful. You know? So they must have been quite good in something that the majority of people around them let them be where they are.
In most cases, yes.
In most cases, yeah. Of course not. Of course not.
God,
all right, what else have we got?
That I won't.
Yeah, let's quickly curb that one. Let's go to something a bit more positive. Not positive, but a little bit more hot. So I saw this, and this is what it says: the S&P Global UK Construction PMI. What does PMI mean?
Per manufacturing index, something like that.
Something market index.
Production manufacturing index, something like that.
I don't know, but anyway, whatever it means, it says it fell to 39.4 in November 2025 from 44.1 in October. And regardless of what that term means, the point is it's the steepest downturn in UK construction output for 5.5 years amid challenging market conditions. New orders also decreased to the greatest extent since May 2020. Many construction companies commented on weak client confidence alongside delayed spending decisions linked to uncertainty ahead of the budget. Housing activity, commercial construction, and civil engineering all experienced the fastest downturns in activities for 5.5 years. Fragile market confidence, delays with the release of new projects, and a general lack of incoming new work. And employment also declined at the steepest rate since August 2020. Business optimism is the weakest since December 2022. Happy days for the UK market.
Welcome in the UK recession.
I mean,
So
certainly.
it is a purchasing managers index.
Yeah.
PMI.
Yeah. Anyway, like the term is what it is, but the point is it doesn't look great. And also, I know that based on discussions I have with people who have businesses in the construction industry, they all seem, not all, but a lot are going through a bit of a different or challenging time.
That's fair.
How's it in the US, Dustin? Are you feeling or seeing or experiencing or hearing of similar vibe?
So I'm hearing a lot of it. There's different segments are in different booms and bust cycles. In general, like if you're a product manager or a product manager or a product designer, it's kind of hard to find employment. There's a lot of people on the sidelines. But if you're in construction, generally, like there's a lot of work going on, and it's because we just still have so much data center business that sucks up so much talent that, even though maybe the typical projects aren't as abundant, there's just less resources to work on them. I don't feel like this is for Main Street. This is going to be like an incredible downturn because we're going to start getting into some quantitative easing cycles where both interest rates and quantitative tightening's ending or just ended. So all of those are like we're getting into a Fed more
Printing.
unnecessarily. They're not hawkish anymore. So I think that we're pretty good here.
I think I read.
I think Owen here. Things will have to turn. It might not be next quarter or two next quarters, but the infrastructure is very, very old all around in the UK. So there must be some sort of infrastructure spending. And as we were speaking earlier today as well, there's a lot of like data centers construction happening in the north of England. So your people that you spoke with, if they are local, that's part of the reason why they might be complaining on that.
Yeah, I mean, who we spoke to earlier also said like they had experienced like not struggle, but perhaps like a pull or constrained by the fact that people seem to be moving out of London and doing these projects in the north of England, which is the first time I'd heard that actually, and never really thought about it before. So,
I mean, London is like what's the percentage of the UK economy? A lot. So it's wise to spread it out slightly outside of just one city.
And there's been a lot of confidence, like low confidence, because of the current government and previous governments, and just the political state of the UK has not been just the best place.
Brace yourself. Next 4 years are coming.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Can we talk about a super positive news? There was a big fund.
Oh, let me guess. Permit flow?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're actually going to have Francis on next week to discuss this with us. So we can dive into the detail with him, but that's fantastic news. It's a really interesting space because there's a very similar funding round earlier this year, also with Greenlight, I think the company, also in a similar space. And Francis is going to give us like an overview of the competitive landscape in that area as well. So stay tuned.
Yeah, there's like there's a few other players in the space as well.
Mm. Well, that's definitely a heating up area of the industry.
But did they pivot slightly in pyramid flow? I think, remember when we were talking about pyramid flow probably like year and a half with Patrick, they were innovating within the planning space to kind of provide this cookie cutter planning permits, or to help to get the planning permits. Looking at their website right now, it seems like constructions AI workforce.
They've expanded to not just permitting, but other permit. That makes no sense. Not just planning permits, but broader set of permits required in a construction project. I don't know. I don't know. Why don't we save it for Francis?
Yeah, let's save it for Francis, but that's terrific.
There's also other good news for the industry. The company Gravis Robotics raised 23 million. I think was announced this week as well, which is good for the robotics space. That's also another interesting area where the competition, a lot of money is going in, and the competition is definitely hotting up in terms of autonomous heavy machinery. So we had earlier this year also Bedrock Robotics. There was another one in between that as well, and then obviously you have Gravis as well. So speaking to try and get them on here as well to see what the deal is there. Lots of stuff happening.
Yeah, great end of the year.
Great end of the year. And on the robotics piece as well, it's very interesting to hear about the Boost cohort. So when we were speaking to Parker, who heads up the platform, the Boost platform at Suffolk Technologies, and he was telling us that this year they had received 200-ish applications, and this was like the first year they had noticed a strong uptick in robotics companies. So the robotics space, I know we're at the end of the year and it's kind of cliche to say 2026 will be like an interesting year for robotics, but I think it will. Zooming in on that a bit, but also, like I said to you earlier, Martin, when we were chatting about this, it will still be interesting to see how we actually have use cases of construction robotics on construction sites. I don't. We have some way to go.
It makes sense though. I think people are realizing that dramatic efficiency gains in construction projects from a field perspective, like software for project management software, is not going to get you there, and logistics software, it's not going to. It might incrementally get you an efficiency gain of 1%, but if you can augment the workforce, which is in the U.S., the workforce is like 50% of the construction project, if not more. If you can augment that, you can have dramatic efficiency gains. And so robotics is one way to. So I understand why a substantial amount of money would go into this space, but I'm kind of like you. I haven't seen robotics that can actually do this on large projects and not run into issues like the dog getting stuck.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, construction site is such a fluid space, right? So you would have to have everything kind of programmed up front, what happens afterward, and just have this autonomous workflows happening, so they cannot be like broken in any way. But I think it's still a long time for any like a super major.
I think if zooming out,
sites.
What people are focusing on now is like the human robot integration. What do you call it?
Humanoid or
The human and robot collaboration. That's the word I'm looking for. Versus like full autonomy.
So human is moving the robot.
Like they're working together on a site. Like maybe moving, maybe like doing a part of the robot's job for them, and vice versa. Versus like just saying like robot, you go and do your thing. They're working in tandem with each other, not just one or the other.
I somehow can't see that actually. I would say that more isolated tasks would be done by robot rather than combined human and robot, just simply due to safety. I think there's very limited number of things you can do together.
Yeah. I don't know. How much thought do you guys put towards your landing pages on your website?
Last time 5 years ago.
Dustin?
Actually, more and more every day.
Okay,
Nice.
wow, go
Why?
for it.
Why?
Tell us,
Why?
yeah.
Why? Let's see.
A lot of our sales are to larger customers, and so generally it's about content marketing and hopefully directing them to something on our website that helps, that acutely addresses some sort of pain that they've experienced. For example, we just added a new web page to our, or a new page to our website that is about joint ventures. So
Mm-hmm.
joint ventures are really, really common in construction. And unfortunately, if you're doing a joint venture, almost every single one of them has to use Excel to estimate, because even if a GC both purchase like the same tool, whether it's Beck or WinEst or Sage to estimate, and both GCs use it, it's actually a different desktop tool. And so it's almost impossible to get another person or another company onboarded on your instance of those solutions. And so the acute problem we're trying to address is, okay, you guys can both use Edify for your joint venture. And so having something on our website, something that then marketing material that we're then feeding out to LinkedIn and pushing out through email. So that sort of flow is important. We have a very small marketing team in that we have one contract product marketer, one content marketer. So we are very limited in one contract product or one content market designer or marketing designer. But yeah, it's really important if you're trying to build like a content marketing strategy that gets people to engage and says, hey, I want to know more. So yeah, actually just, was it yesterday or 2 days ago, we just pushed that out on the website talking about, listen, if you're going to do a joint venture, you guys should still have a pre-con platform. You shouldn't be doing it in Excel. So we're thinking about like, okay, what's our messaging? And then, okay, when you engage with us, what's the checkout or check-in process? But it's actually
Yeah.
really important to grow a tech company.
Are you
But
like
what?
trying to put the core that like how why did you decide, Dustin? I don't know how, like what your involvement was on that particular decision, but when you decide to put that in the header, like it's prominent when you landed on Edify's website, yeah, like it has JVs in the menu on the header. Is the idea behind that you're putting the most prominent offer right there because the market was telling you like we want the solution for this, or was it because like it's a new thing that you've put out there and you want the market to know, or something
So
else?
it can be a combination of both, but it's also part of like our overarching value proposition is that, first of all, you need a platform to manage cost and pre-construction, and that um, you should, when you have these JVs that are multi-billion-dollar projects, you should still have the same, you should still be able to utilize that tool just because there's a new entity. And that's the value of having a cloud solution versus other companies that are a desktop tool, which are not going to work for that. So it's also just reinforcing our messaging of why you should be using a cloud application. And even if maybe you feel like we don't address all your needs today, directionally, we are the right tech stack for all future work. And this isn't just another example to support that thesis and argument.
Fair enough.
And then, so once you have this landing page, then you go out to people you know and tell them about it,
I
or you
literally
do
posted on LinkedIn, and I'm not joking. I had 3 companies reached out that day.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. It worked.
One person wrote me, is like, this is so it makes so much sense. It's kind of stupid that no one else does this.
Did he play the trumpet for you as well?
No, but I appreciated the direct quote.
Well, look,
Well, then we had a chat, and he's like, Dustin, it feels like you just do the obvious things, and for some reason you find the things that no one else thought were obvious. It's like, yeah, no,
well, that's a completely under like spoken skill. There's something deeply skillful about that, and people really don't put enough value on how skillful that is. And I think that, yeah, I think Patrick uses a framework called like hidden in spite of obvious, and that reminds me of that. Yeah, it becomes obvious once people are aware, but it's totally unobvious to start with.
yeah.
And even like comparing that kind of thing to Uber, like how simple that app is and how successful it was. Like anyone could say, yeah, I could have thought of that. It's like, yeah, you could have thought about it now. Like once a
Yeah.
few $1 billion later.
Yeah, we have all kinds of things in Edify that once people see, they're like, yeah, I actually do that in Excel, and then I put numbers back into my estimating tool. Is like, yeah, you probably should just have it in your estimating tool.
Ah. Hey, well, look, the reason I asked, and I don't feel like I'm the right person to judge here, because if you go on the Bricks and Bytes website, I'm fully aware that we are in need of some kind of revamp. So look, if anyone listens to this wants to like hook us up with a great web designer, we are all ears at the moment, and it's something we're deeply thinking about. But the reason I
Yeah,
asked,
we need a content strategist.
watch this space. We may have some news fairly soon. But the reason I asked is because I came across this article, and it is, the headline of the article is, okay, I don't have the headline of the article. Oh, here you go. Win the first 5 seconds of the landing page, and it's what Y Combinator advise their startups to put on their landing page. So regardless of like what you think of Y Combinator and whatnot, I think it's got some cool principles that people could learn a few things from. And what I did is a very, very, very long article. We'll put a link in the notes here. But what I did is I just quickly put it into Gemini and asked for the summary and what the key takeaways are for people who would be listening to this. And what it has given us is, we can go through each of these. You have approximately 5 seconds to convince a visitor to stay on your site. If a user cannot understand what you do and why they should care within that window, they will bounce. Here's a summary of the 5 key takeaways. So your landing page is not a biography of your company. It's a sales pitch that needs to work instantly. When a user lands on your page, they subconsciously ask 2 questions. What does this startup do? Is this for me? If they don't answer that immediately, you have failed the test, and without scrolling. So they can't scroll to answer that question. Here's key takeaways. Number 1, the hero section above the fold is everything. This is the screen people see before they scroll. It must contain 100% of your core value proposition. The headline, be descriptive, not clever. Avoid marketing jargon like empowering the future of workflow. Instead, use concrete X for Y phrasing. Bad, revolutionizing how we connect. Good is the Airbnb for dog walking, or one-click payroll for remote teams. Then you have a subheadline where you explain how you deliver
Did
the
they
headline's
really
promise.
use the example of Airbnb for dog walking?
I was just thinking how I said it. Like, that's not very clear. And I'm pretty sure Airbnb probably offer dog walking as part of their services thing now, no? The subheadline should explain how you deliver on the headline's promise. Use this space to highlight the primary benefit or specific features. And the call to action, make it distinct and action-orientated. Don't use stuff like learn more. It's too passive. Do stuff like get started, book a demo, or sign up free. Agree or disagree?
I think it's valid points. My struggle is most of the time I look at the websites of startups. I just don't understand what that is about. Being in construction, obviously within a limited capacity of what I've been doing my whole life, but still I feel like I should understand at least what the folks are doing, right? So,
Yeah. I think it's also like they're great insights for early stage companies and companies specifically focused on product-led growth, in that people can self-onboard. I think that it falls short if you are focused more on mid-market or enterprise, where people can't self-onboard, and it's more of a longer buying cycle where they're looking for more information to justify a reason why. And so you're not going to be able to hit that reason why with the hero is important. And, to Martin's point, no one should ever leave your website and say, I don't know what they do. And there's a lot of companies, but I think it's also kind of funny that YC is like, says that, and then half of YC's batch is just like, we are AI for this. What do you do?
They obviously haven't read the article, no?
Obviously.
Yeah. By the
what
way,
about you guys think about video on the website? Like first 5, 7, 12
well,
seconds.
actually, this comes to the next point, Mine. It's a good question. It says you should show the product immediately. Founders apparently often hide their actual product behind abstract illustrations or stock photos of people shaking hands. Maybe they don't have a product. And YC advises the opposite. If it's software, show the interface. Use GIFs and videos. A 5-second looping GIF showing the core workflow is often better than a 2-minute explainer video that no one clicks. And have concrete visuals if it's a hardware product. Show high quality photos of the device, not the lifestyle around it.
Yeah, I think that what is a great idea, and I think I've seen it one in a traditional business, not a startup. It was like a caricature of a situation that these people were solving for. So they showed how they solved the problem in a funny way, using animated like a Disney kind of caricatures. So and you listen, you watch it, you listen to it. It takes 10 12 seconds, and you know exactly what's that about. Such a great idea.
I actually have a rule, and I'd say in general, if you can't find videos of them showing their product, it probably sucks. Literally, it probably sucks. Or it's very old and they're scared of the interface, and so they don't want to show you the interface because you immediately underwrite them as being. And so that's usually what happens is all the old companies, they don't show their interface because they want you to sit down with them and say, oh yeah, but it's really, really like there's a lot of power behind all this. Yeah. If they can't show their product, it probably sucks.
Blind dates.
Mm-hmm.
I also actually thinking when I was reading through this, I want to shout out to Kevin Ferguson. Dustin, I know you work with him. And I done a brilliant podcast episode with him a few months back where he gave us some frameworks which you can actually incorporate on landing pages. So I would highly recommend people reach out to Kevin and also check out the episode that we've done with him. But he goes into that a little bit deeper. Next point that they make, social proof builds trust fast. I think most people will be aware of this. Key principle of influence here, but logos of recognizable companies used by 1,000 teams makes you 67% more productive and saves you $400 million on one mistake. It doesn't say that. I mean, I'm just saying some of the stuff I've seen recently, which makes me question.
That's definition of Western marketing, Owen, which you're just reading.
You need to own that term, man.
Yeah, westernmarketing.com. I'm going to buy it now.
Westernmarketing.com? You might buy it. That would be great.
Do not do this. Okay, this might be more interesting for people. No carousels or sliders. Users ignore them and they hide your key message. Put your best value proposition front and center and keep it static. No wall of text. People scan, they don't read. Use bullet points and bold text to make your page skimmable. No jargon. If you have to explain your industry terms, you've already lost the user. Write as if you're explaining to your product to a friend outside the industry. I think that can really heavily depend, actually.
Yeah. I in some ways you want to show that you understand the customer. Like, this is where the nuance comes in of like, hey, is your website really for investors because the point in time you're at, or is it really for customer acquisition? If it's for customer acquisition, you're speaking directly to the buyer. And I think if you are using terms that, well, I'll put it this way. I end up talking to a lot of founders that want to get into construction and just from a tech career. I don't know why construction is so attractive to people who aren't from the industry, but then you talk to them and you're like, they start using terms and like, you don't understand what that means or how to use it properly in a sentence. And that's a huge problem because you lose a lot of confidence in their ability to execute long term if they don't understand like how to use the right terminology in the right context. And if your website,
it's a huge off-put in construction, actually. Like not getting the terminology correct, and people sniff it instantly and know that you're an outsider, and this tribal thing kicks in where they're like, "Who the hell is this guy? I don't want to speak to them anymore."
That's right.
And I think that is the end of the article. So there you go. That's how you build a landing page. Okay. We have a few places we can go. Shall we tell you about the data grid Agentathon we went to, which I thought was genius and also a really fun day that we did recently in New York?
You guys go?
Yes.
Nice. Tom Flees was texting me about it yesterday.
I was brilliant. I really
yeah, it's so much fun with them.
Tom is. We love Tom. Every time I see that guy, my cheeks hurt because he makes me smile so much because he's great.
Can I tell Tom's story? So Tom likes
I
to
don't
tell
know.
stories.
Yeah, you tell it. If you feel a bit comfortable, tell it.
We were at Procore Groundbreak and we were hanging at the after party. And, Tom, for those of you who don't know Tom Fleece, he's great. I've known him a very long time. We actually started our career in construction in Sacramento together, and he pretty much knows everyone in the industry. So he and I are good friends. And we're at Procore Groundbreak, and he's talking to, well, I won't say the company's name, but a very large company. And, Tom's being Tom, and he walks away. And the two executives at this company, and I'm talking like the CIO, and they're like, what is that guy on right now? I'm like, that's just Tom. He's like, I need to inhale his oxygen because that guy brings it.
Yeah. We had like 5 minutes of such a great laugh. I
Yeah.
just couldn't stop.
When I like first met Tom in person, this is coming like a Tom appreciation segment. So that he's a great guy. Well, we first done a podcast with Tom, didn't we? Maybe 6 months on Bricks and Bytes ago, and it was like pure entertainment. Like aside,
Yeah.
there was real nuggets of wisdom about go to market, and he's one of the greatest salespeople in this industry. And on top of that, there was just this layer of entertainment that was just like we had so much fun with him. And then I met him in he actually came to London and they were doing some stuff with Data Grid and we had a quick chat. And then I met him again at Autodesk University in Nashville. And one, like the entire 3 days, he was just really, really cracking me up and making me smile. But two, when we were there, one morning he come up to me and was like, we're going to do this hackathon in New York. And Owen, what date can you make? And I was like, well, we're going to be in Boston on the 19th of November. And he was like, all right, we're going to do it on the 20th of November. And 2 weeks later, they've like booked the venue and everything has been put into plan and the wheels are rolling in place for this hackathon to happen. And it was like literally a 1-minute conversation that we had sitting on some sofa in Autodesk University. And I was like, that's great execution right there.
Yeah.
Anyway, to the event. So this was held in New York. This was one of the first, I think it was the first one they're doing of this series of hackathons, or they're calling it agentathons, for people, for specifically building AI agents within the construction and AEC industry. And the first location was New York. They're going to be doing them around the US and I think some places in Europe. I know they want to come to London at some point and do one too. And we were there for a full day and there was a few presentations in the morning, and then in the afternoon it was all about everyone getting together and building AI agents. And what I really loved about it from a product marketing perspective was that they showed a little bit about the benefits of agents, and then they let people actually get their hands dirty and build agents. And we done like some content there, and we done this sort of story script where we followed people at the start of the day, asked them what their confidence level was and how they were feeling, and then we followed them throughout the day. And we'll be releasing that video soon. It's very interesting for people who want to watch and see what people's experiences were at the event. But you literally, at the beginning of the day, we spoke to these people and we're like, "What's your confidence in AI agents?" And most few people like 2 out of 10, 1 out of 10, 3 out of 10. And they're like deflated in how they're speaking because they're a little bit anxious, like the day hadn't started. And by the end of it, these people were like different, totally different. And their confidence levels mostly gone from like a 1 to a 2 to like a 7 or an 8. And it was really, really cool to see. And I think why it worked is because they weren't just showing people how to use agents. They were actually giving people the tools to go and build their own agents. And then people felt like they were really achieving something. And as a result of that, it's obviously done their product a huge service there. And like people were now like really pushing for the Data Grid product to be adopted internally within their company. So I think masterstroke of genius from their team. Well done, Data Grid.
So also the product is so simple to be implemented by a company, which says a lot, yeah.
No, I think Owen, you hit the nail on the head. It demystifies what an agent is, where right now people don't know what it is, and they don't know how to interact with it. And so AI right now is a tool that's given to them. And if you teach them how to create agents to help them accomplish their specific acute problems, I think that's a powerful message.
I think, yeah, people can draw inspiration from that. And also, back to Tom's point, when I was in the airport coming back to the UK, he sent me an AI generated song of Suno of the day. Of the entire day. And it was like a reggae version of the description of the hackathon. I think we should try and play it on here. It gave me the idea we should do like a Bricks and Bytes top of the pops where people submit their AI construction text songs and we have a chart.
Yeah, he was texting me, so they want to throw one in SF. So I think we're going to help put it together.
Nice. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Shall we go to something? Okay, we've got 10 minutes left. I've maybe got two more things to cover here. Two cool things. Number one is this happening on, the date. I will reveal it. Let me share my screen. People can see. I would highly recommend people look at the screen right now.
Yeah. Let's get ready to rumble.
So
this is such a great image.
Well, look, I can't take credit for this image because I think Luigi, shout out to Luigi, he put this initial version together. I then took it, put it into Nano Banana and asked it to make it more like UFC style. And so it did. And so here we have the great LLM debate. And I really hope that we can do more of these because it encourages. Yeah, I feel like people are.
There is one more actually on the line.
Well, I don't think someone's accepting.
Yeah, well, we can help.
We can push.
Yeah.
I pushed him the other day or today.
No luck.
I think that someone likes to talk a lot, not actually defend their arguments.
So what you see here is, this is Mike Powers versus Luigi. We're going to host it live on, I think live. I don't know if we've agreed that yet. I'm pretty certain we have on Bricks and Bytes. And Patrick is actually going to moderate it, all being well. So that is going to be a whopper of an event. And we are looking forward into to discussing what the to finding out what the outcome of that will be. I'm just thinking if I can quickly tease people what the agenda would be.
How do we figure out who wins this?
Well,
votes.
Hey,
votes.
Prediction market. To my next point, I'm going to come to that in a second.
Yes. But the prediction market can be done before, right? If it so you need a definitive kind of ending of this debate. Like who wins it? Who judges? Who won it?
I know Powers is training a lot by vibe coding. That's what
Mike's, yeah, his fingers have been busy on the buttons. I can't find the agenda, but I will post the event tomorrow on Bricks and Bytes LinkedIn page, and we will post the links so people can join and get involved. I think like it will be fun debate. No one is knocking each other out physically or not. It's going to be more of a discussion, and we will let the crowd decide really on whether people agree or not. And
those two are great. Good.
I think just to give a little bit of a tease, it's going to be around this premise that out of the box LLMs, i.e. Google, OpenAI, Anthropic, are able to produce 100% accurate takeoffs versus someone building or coding a foundational type LLM specifically for that use case. So I think we won't just focus on takeoffs, but we will focus on that as a topic discussion. Is it better to build a solution using out-of-the-box LLMs, or is it better to actually build a foundational LLM which solves the problem? So,
What do you think, Dustin?
Well, if you were to ask me to bet, I am going to have to bet on this next year. I would, and this is before I've done what I will do and make a very, very deep dive into this. I would reckon, and I doubt my opinion will change, is that everything you need is going to come from one of the large AI models, and that you will then augment it with user experiences and flows that help them accomplish their task for when the point in time things are not accurate. But the level of precision that these models are going to reach is going to far exceed even what you would do on your own at some point, and it's very, very close anyway. So I'm more in the powers camp on some of the things they're doing with these foundations.
I would actually say similar thing. I use GPT, Gemini day to day to read from the drawings.
Yeah.
And it does way more than I would do it within 2 hours in 5 seconds. So,
and certainly for things like cross-referencing discrepancies versus callouts on the plans and specifications, and those things are actually even hard for a human to go through and do.
Hey, but that's the point, right? Do you think an out the box LLM will be able to do that? And I think to Luigi's point, and when we had this discussion with him a few weeks back on Briggs Bucks and Bytes, he was saying that like often the skill is actually on like what's not like the implied knowledge, not what's explicitly stated on a drawing. So like it's what's not there is where the skill of an estimator in the terms of a takeoff comes in.
Yeah, I think these two will debate it better than we can.
Yeah, gonna be a good one. So add that to the diary. Okay, and finally, so people who are listening to this either live or will listen to it when it gets released tomorrow, i.e. Friday the 5th of December, we're going to be launching a closed beta of the AEC Prediction Market. So if you want to join, it's going to run from the 8th of December to the 21st of December. So we're doing like a 2-week sprint, and we'll have a daily market. We'll have a 2-weekly market, so a market that covers the entire 2-week duration. We'll have a market each week, and then we'll have a daily market. So we're just going to try and stress test this while hopefully having a little bit of fun, and we're going to see who is the cleverest person in the AEC technology or AEC industry over a 2-week period, and then we'll launch it to the public, hopefully in January, all being well. So if you want to join, then just shoot me a message and I'll add you. We're going to have a WhatsApp group, and we're going to have some fun, hopefully. And
is
it's going to be
this
prizes.
for real cash or points?
Like we can't do it for cash, sadly, because you have to have regulation. Maybe there is a way, but via crypto. But
how about the winner? The winner gets to come on Bricks, Bytes, and Bucks.
Well, we have some prizes actually. Last place prize is a 1-to-1 session with Martin for an hour.
Oh gosh.
2 hours.
And you have to take it. There's no option.
You have to take it, yeah. You better be good.
No, there's some prizes. Some companies have actually donated prizes already. Some tech companies within the industry have donated prizes for the main thing. I don't want to say too much yet because I'm not 100% like convinced on the pricing strategy just yet. So this is the part of the reason that we're going to do this test as well, and get feedback.
Love it.
So watch this space. Okay. Anything more from you? You two?
Missing Patrick.
Yeah.
It was nice having last week off for Thanksgiving. Hope everyone enjoyed their holiday.
Yeah, Dustin, man, you are speeding through those 5Ks at the moment, huh?
Oh yeah, so I did run a 5K turkey trot, and I took third over 40 in my local turkey trot. I averaged 6 minutes and 32 seconds per mile. I was proud of that, considering I'm just a tech guy that just sits on a lot of Zooms.
Fit tech guy.
Fit tech guy. Take over your Twitter handle.
Fit tech.
I mean, it's not bad for 42 and I'm 200 pounds. I'll take it.
That's good. That's really good, man. Like seriously, that's fast. That's very fast for your age.
Very fast.
Yeah.
Well, for you overseas people, it's like 4:03 per kilometer.
Yeah, that's very fast.
When I do like 4:45 a kilometer, my legs. My body is screaming at me. So, congrats.
Thanks.
Yeah.
She's slower than Dustin.
Yes, I am. I don't mind. Like, that's fast.
I didn't mean to be rude. I just
don't
stated
care.
the
I
fact.
don't care. I don't care. You can't offend me these days, Martin. Okay. Martin, anything from you?
No, really.
You know who's really fast at running, by the way, is Kevin Halter. Or
Yeah?
Kevin Halter. Yeah.
Fastest.
Genes or training?
Huh?
What?
Genes or training?
No, he's legit. Like he's like, I think he's like an 1835K guy. I think he's 2 or 3 years older than me, so it's pretty good.
Sweet. I'm not going to be here next week, so mine's on the buttons. Good luck, my friend.
Yeah.
See you all next week.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah.
Bricks, bucks, and bucks.